This is the Paula G. Show, and I thank you all so very much for tuning in this evening. I am so excited to have my guest joining me. She is affectionately known as Mother Hines, and she is here with us to share her story about her precious son and also some amazing and wonderful things that she is doing as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the Paula G. Show, Mrs. Edith Hines. Good evening, Mrs. Hines. How are you?
Good evening. God, you beautiful lady. Beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. I want to say this up front before I forget. Well, I won't forget. I want to say this up front that I'm truly honored to have you join us this evening to share your journey. Thank you in advance so much for taking some time to talk with us and share with us about your son and also some of the amazing things that you are doing as well.
Thank you for having me. I am delighted and honorable to be here, and I am so happy to be able to share with you. I'm so excited.
Yes. Well, tell us about your son.
Well, my son. I'm going to begin with my dreams. I dreamed my son in this tragic moment that he was killed, and it was over 266,295 hours of dreaming. It's a miracle. 19 years approximately dreaming of my son's death. And of course, I'm writing a book about it. You know, it was a miracle even in his birth. And God has designated this young man at this particular time right now to be able to tell the story. And it is a miracle, has been a miracle for 19 years, and I have a diary all these years wondering why I was dreaming, and dreaming up until he died in Korea. And of course, even his birth was a miracle, and I'm going to share that in my book. I don't want to reveal that right now, but
no, ma'am.
It was a miracle, and all during the years, my son was a good boy and beautiful child, and we shared a lot together. And he was in the beach when he died and left. And during the time that we were waiting to hear from him, his girlfriend was going to buy her wedding dress.
Oh, and, my goodness.
She heard, some of the neighbors heard, this noise and crying and carried on. And she was getting in the car. And they said to her, "You better go upstairs, Christine, because I think something is happening." And so she came upstairs, and she found out that Tim was killed. And that's tragic for her, you know. And so we just take it one day at a time. And I tell the other Gold Star mothers that, some of them are wounded. I said, but I'm wounded, but I have a scar, that will never erase,
Right.
And that scar will remind them of their precious sons.
Yes.
And
yes.
life is so precious.
It really is. It really is. And your son was a corporal, Corporal Timothy Eccles in U.S. Army. And what can you share with us some childhood memories? Was he a mischievous little boy? I know you said he was a good boy. Did he get mischievous at times?
Yes, he was mischievous. He would always try and but he was unusually clean. You know, he wouldn't let anybody sit on his bed. You know, he was unusually, even the refrigerator had to be, you know, like everything had to be organized. And you couldn't sit on his bed. And he shared with the Temptations. I lived in Jersey City, of course. And during the time of his life, he was a musician, a bass musician. And he was inspired by Temptations. And he loved music. But one particular thing, he knocked on the door, you know, to scare me, and he knocked on the door. I opened the door, and he sneezed, and he had a piece of liver in his nose, and the liver came out, and
my goodness.
I started screaming because he was saying that something happened to him. Somebody had hit him in the head, and damn it, don't do that. And that was really, you know, really frightening.
Yes.
One really funny thing was that I had a friend that made bread pudding. And so she knew that I love bread pudding. So I sent her to the house, to her house, the bread pudding, and I never seen him till the next day. He ate bread pudding and was afraid to come home. He ate
wow.
I said, Tim,
wow.
He just sit outside. The bread pudding was so good, you know.
Right.
And he was afraid, you know, that I would scold him. But that was not, you know, wasn't a good incident. But nevertheless, he was a good boy.
Yes, yes.
And
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, how have you kept his memory alive all of these years?
I've kept his memory alive by writing and taking notes of what I dreamed, how I dreamed it, and when I dreamed. And all of this is in a diary. And just like you say, the good memories been a comfort to me. You know, I have had letters. You know, one particular letter was so heartwarming, and this letter was I was going to the bank, and a friend. It wasn't a friend. It was a stranger picked me up on Bowling Air Force Base to take me to the bank. And a letter fell out of my pocket and on the floor. I went in the bank and I come back, and this lady said to me, she said, Miss Hines said, forgive me, but I read a letter. And she said, it was so heartwarming. She said, I have this letter to give my son, and let's see how a young man have treated and feel alike and feel about his mother. I say, you know, she had no business
Yes.
it was God's will that she read the letter. I said, of course you can. If that letter going to help your son, you are welcome to have it.
Wow. You've done some, you've done some, I just think, wonderful things. When we spoke previously, you spoke of a play and your book and your poem that you have. And if it's okay with you, we're going to take a little bit of a break, a little bit of a music break. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about your poem and the play.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sure, darling.
All right. We're going to take a little break, and we are going to listen to a little bit more. Well, you know what? Let's talk a little bit more before we do that. I just thought of something. I want to make sure that we take care of before the break. Tell me a bit about, without giving it away, tell us a bit about your book. Let's talk about that before we go to the break.
My book is about the conflict in Korea. It is a perfect time to be published. And I studied by my son getting killed. I wanted to know where, when, how, and why. So I just started studying about the culture of Korea and how they lived and why war, started. And so I just got curious and got into it so that I just visit there mentally,
Yes.
And the most precious thing, and I don't mind saying this, that you know that South Korea is called the son of the morning. The son of the morning.
The son of the morning.
Yes, the sun that comes up in the morning just fill the whole plantation, Korea, and it's beautiful. And why would anyone ever want to destroy the beauty of God's land?
Yes.
My question. Why?
Yes. Why? The son of the morning. And why would anyone, and it's such a valid question, why would anyone want to destroy the beauty of God's land?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it comes up in Korea in a way that it does not come at all in any other place in the world.
Oh. Wow.
God has his way of living in areas that we least expect. And that's what's intriguing,
We are having a conversation this evening with our Gold Star mom, Mrs. Edith Hines. Tell us about the play that you're working on.
I'm working on a play that I wrote the music, instead. It's very healing. You can say things in music that you can sing things in music that is so healing from any other words that you could sing. So
that's so true.
I have it's a musical play, and it's all about Korea, and it's done in poetry. One particular thing that we're going to have choreography is 9 o'clock. Now, Paula, here is what happened. He was about, just talking age, maybe about 7 months, 6 months, and then don't know exactly. But anyway, I passed the clock, and I looked up, when it get dark early, and I looked up, it's 9 o'clock. And this child, for the first words that I ever heard, said 9 o'clock. 19 years later, it was 9 o'clock when they buried him. But that was his first words. And this is going to be all in music, and it won't be sad all the time. It will music that will cheer you up, and music will help you to understand the emotion that a woman and a man go through with when they lose a child.
Wow. That is really deep.
That is called The Conflict of Korea, the life and death of a dream.
The conflict in Korea. The
life and death.
And death of a dream. And what is your vision as far as where people will be able to see this play, or how people will be able to see it?
Well, I'm seeking for funding now, and I'm trying to recruit actors and singers, So I'm just trusting in God and hoping a door will open that we can first give it here in Washington at Howard Theater.
Yeah.
So that is, I want to put Perry to a shame. But that's just fun,
Yeah.
But I really feel that it's healing and it's comfort and it's educational in knowing where Korea is, what they stood for, what kind of people they are, and the religion that they, served. And it's going to be helpful. And I just feel that this is going to be one of the breakthroughs that any black person could contribute to their country.
Wow.
In healing.
Wow.
And I wrote a song, God, We Are the Gold Star Mothers. And it's that tapes, that we distributing, on the way. So God is using me, and I'm very happy. I'm 87 years old. I have my own podcast. And
what?
Yes.
Miss Hines, wait a minute. You're 87. Wait a minute, Miss Hines. Hold on. You're 87 years old with your own podcast. I'm about to say with your own own podcast.
I'm the oldest. I think I'm the oldest podcast one.
What?
Yes.
You're going to have to share with my audience your podcast information so we can all tune in to your podcast.
Well,
you have to share with us. Yes, ma'am.
Well, you can go, I'm on Facebook. You can search for, the Edith Hines. The Edith Hines.
T-H-E, Edith Hines.
Right. There's so many Edith Hines out there. So we decided my producer, which is Mr. Jones. He had his own radio station in Chicago. So he helps me out in my production. But we are doing, tomorrow I'll be doing the 12th podcast.
All the beautiful things. Is this you, Miss Hines? All the beautiful things. I see you. I'm looking at your page, I believe. Edith Hines, podcast, Healing is the Children's Bread. Is that you, Miss Hines?
That's the last one I did. Wow, you're bringing it up, huh?
Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fan. I think it's a fan page. So if you type in the word Edith, Edith, Hines, Hines, there's a picture of Miss Hines up there looking just as fabulous as ever. And she's got her postings down there, and you can see her podcast. I'm going to have to tune in and take some notes on how to podcast from Miss Hines. Yes, I am. And I see a picture of your son there. Yes, this is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. Yes, A Nation's Cry, of history of how the Korean War started. That's you, yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
And also, I wrote a summit about the cry in the wilderness. It's the whole story about Obama and how I feel about how God brought him here to us to break. Yes, the cry in the wilderness. I have that on tapes. I have tapes. And I have a comedy, D.C. Roach, you know, that's for children. But all of these things that have happened to me has my son from ashes to success, you know. God took him from me to give me an inspiration for others. So his life is not in vain.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Wow. Can you share with us your poem?
Yes, I will.
Yes.
It's called I Am a Designated Soldier in the USA. I am a designated soldier in the USA. Please, please listen to all I have to say. We love our country. There is no doubt. But we hate to see the bodies destroyed on the land and in the fields and about. The sight of the T-34 tanks in Korea was a scary thing. Our experience was like the hand of King David with its violent sling. The refuges of North Korea was used as a cover up on the desert. Big groups of them fell. The mountain peak, Nanyos, even then, the shooting of blood. The shooting of blood yielded my mother's dreams. Spirits roam in the hills. You can hear the screams, and I was not there in my mother's dreams, but I'm coming. The war in your mind was already forming. Mama, you saw it, and you stood on the mountains side by side with death until there were no blood left. No blood left, Mama. You did not understand in your dreams the myriad of picturesque characters performing a dream keen and fine. It was blow your mind, Mama. But Mama, don't let them forget. Mama, don't forget. The dream has been displayed in the dreadful war. Even the civilians considered as enemies you saw in certain areas. What's the Cold War really a failure? Send me a message, God, from the grave. The sacrifices of sons and daughters, brave. Mama, thousands of refuse are blown up, and they cross the Hands River Bridge. Before it all happened, you saw it. Your dreams started in the 50s. Old bloody wall. Mama, don't let them forget. Don't let them forget, Mama. That's it. Hello?
Yes, yes. I'm just marinating on that powerful piece. Just marinating on that powerful piece. And, you know, it sounds, it's almost like, it almost sounds like you have conversations with your son in the spirit.
Yes, I do. I do.
That you have conversations, yes.
And Paula, this all happened before it happened. And this is the story I will be telling. And it's so, you know, you can't deny it because of all of those hours. No one was able to interpret the dream. This is a little boy running around, going to school, happy with his friends, you know. And even though in Georgia, where Sherman, the Civil War there, we live right in the midst of where the city was burned, you know. This child Timmy was playing on the railroad track. The same railroad track that Sherman burned and they rebuilt it. He was playing on it on a car, on a railroad car box. And one of the kids fell down and cut their legs off, you know.
Yes.
This child went through a lot of hate and distress in his life, but he was a good son. I remember, I want to tell this, I remember, you know, I was a single mother, and it was very hard, you know, in the 60s for a single mother. And my son went out and got a job, and it was Easter Sunday. It was the Sunday, the Easter weekend. He went out and got a job, and because he didn't have much money. And he came back. I was on the floor thinking all the kids needed was some shoes. And I was lying on the floor. Oh, I wished I had shoes. And he opened the door, and he threw $40 right on my breast, you know, because I'm late. Gosh. And he said, Mom, go get your shoes. So that $40, I never will forget, bought my kids a happy Easter. So that was the kind of kid he was. And to take his life, you know, is just devastating.
Yes. Yes.
But I think triumph.
What else do you want the listeners to know? What else do you want to share with them? Or what do you want to leave them with?
You mean the military world or just everybody?
let's say both. Let's say military for our military listeners.
I think our military listeners, so many after they lose their sons, stay in depression, and they feel like that they just can't go on. But I think you should take that life that you lost and do something to help somebody else, the veterans, or even if you don't know a veteran, if you don't know about military life, a lot of military people don't even know about Gold Star mothers. There's been times that I met people, what do you mean by Gold Star? Only when it came out, when the president was elected and the Gold Star family was on, then a lot of people learned that there were Gold Star mothers, And I think get involved in helping others, It's nothing like, it's not what you receive that you're going to cash in, but it's what you give. If you give something, you have nothing to cash in. You have nothing to. If you don't deposit nothing, don't expect anything.
Yeah.
So your deposit is really what's going to make you happy and help you to be comforted and to be healed. And I just hope someday that we can live in peace around the world and in countries. I've been all over to Japan. I've been. I had plays in Philippines and Portugal. In the Philippines, I was the first black woman to write a play in Portugal, and win first place on television, radio. A mother's grandmother, a grandmother's birthday. So,
wow.
And that was all for military families,
Yeah.
And so I am, I don't get around, but guess what I do? I'm in a wheelchair. I have my granddaughter. She rolls me around to the meetings. I speak. I do poetry. I go to the center of the military older people. And the funny thing I did, I went with a musician, and they thought I was coming in because I was a patient there. So,
oh my goodness,
they put up signs, Edith Hines is coming because there's a lot of poetry. And so when I got there, and I'm 86 years old, oh, you back, Hines, you back. And you know what I said? Oh, no, I didn't come back. I come to entertain you. So they all had a big I said, I'll come back when I get older.
So you tell him, Miss Hines. You go ahead.
I'm in a wheelchair.
I bet they didn't know what to do with that, did they?
No. They got it. So I danced around in my wheelchair, They
yeah.
So there's a lot you can do to comfort people.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's a way of healing,
Yeah.
And forget your enemy. If you got an enemy, what about sending a bouquet of roses?
Oh, that's huge. That's huge, Miss Hines. Sending them a bouquet of roses.
Yes.
That's huge. That takes strength.
It worked for me. So it'll work for anybody. And think about, the positive. Always think of the positive and eliminate the negative. And don't mess Mr. In Between.
You have dropped some knowledge on us this evening, and I thank you so much for joining us. Please know you are welcome back. Anytime you have something to say, just reach out. Say, Paula, I want to get on the show, and we will make it happen. We will make it happen. Thank you so much.